Hey, welcome to Stage Door, a theater podcast hosted by a couple of average guys. And today we have a special episode drop. We're dropping this on a non-Friday because that's when we can get it in. We're pretty busy, so this is the time we can get it in. And we were fortunate enough to get one of the cast members of Pretty Woman to come on, Alessandra Casanova. Boy, I hope I said that right because I'll have to make sure I ask her as soon as I get her on the line here.
Hello.
Hey, good evening. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Okay,
is this Kyle?
It is Kyle. Please tell me your name is Alessandra. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That's perfect.
All right, Alessandra Casanova. That is such a fun name already. Jeez, all right. That's
Thank
great.
You.
Where are you from, Alessandra?
I'm from Dorado, Puerto Rico.
Oh, you're from Puerto Rico. Nice. So
yes, there's a few of us in the cast.
Oh,
yeah.
That's wonderful. So I don't know if you know anything about our podcast, but we like to delve deep into who you are as a person and how you became who you are instead of always talking about just the show. Because the show is fine. You know, everybody, this is a very specific musical theater podcast from Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan. And everybody who listens to this podcast, you don't have to sell them. You don't have to sell them on the fact that they're going to go to the show. They already have season tickets or are going to go buy the tickets to go see the shows. They love musical.
Incredible.
Yeah, they love musical theater. They don't have to be told to love musical theater. So what they really want to know and what I want to know is who you are, Alessandra. Where did you come from? How'd you grow? So when you were little, when you were tiny, did you always love musical theater and want to get into this?
Well, yes, yeah, absolutely. I kind of got into it because of really obscure The Cats DVD recorded version from the West End.
Can I tell you, you're not the first person to actually say The Cats is why they got into this, though. That's so funny.
Literally, I know, and I shame on everyone who shames on Cats. Like, that musical is incredible.
Exactly.
So
it wasn't on Broadway forever because it was terrible. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. But yeah, that's kind of how I just watched that religiously as a kid from my cousin who lived in New York, and she was always around theater when she was a kid too, so she kind of just brought me into it.
Whoa. And so she was in wait. You were in Puerto Rico and she was in New York.
Yes.
So how did you said from New York? How did she get you this DVD? Did she mail it to you? She's like, this is my DVD. I love it. I'm going to give it to the person I love.
I'm not even sure how I got it. I think like when we would kind of hang out, because I would visit New York a lot. She lived in like Westchester area. And we would just watch it like religiously, like every time I would go visit her or when she would come visit me. I think I got the DVD for myself for like Christmas one year. I don't know.
Is she the same close to age as you, or?
She is 3 years older than me.
Yeah, so she was just waiting. She's like, when Alessandra comes up, we're going to watch this. And that kind of thing.
Literally. She is the reason why I do this as a living today. Oh, wow. So I owe it all to her. Yeah.
Oh, what's her name? Let's give her a shout out on here.
Her name is Serena Hernandez. She is everything.
She is everything. Hey, Serena. That's amazing. So you started watching Cats and just watching it religiously and just became obsessed. And which one was your favorite character in Cats? Was it
Victoria.
Oh, Victoria. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was Mr. Mistopheles. Could have been.
Well, also Mr. Mistopheles. Rum Tum Tugger was huge for me as well.
Yeah, he does have the glorious part in the show. I wasn't sure. So did you start taking dance and stuff real early then because of Cats?
No, really, interestingly enough, my mom put me in ballet when I was a kid, and I hated it, so she took me out. And we were like a big sports family, so I kind of just I delved into sports a lot when I was a kid, but decided at like age 11 that I would do this for the rest of my life, and then just kind of never strayed from it.
Age 11.
Yeah, I was like, this is what's happening. I did Into the Woods Junior, and I went, this is what's going to happen for the rest of my life.
You were the white cow, and you're like, this is it. I have to be in this.
No, literally. I wasn't even a character. I was like the woodland creature. Like, I don't know.
Of course, you were 11. You weren't going to get a part in the show. You're just a little tiny thing. So that's great. So
she's humble. She started in the ensemble.
Yeah, she started in the ensemble. Now she's a big deal. Okay. So
exactly.
So you. I don't want to jump for too much into the future here. So you started when you were little. You started watching Cats. And you started doing all that kind of stuff. And then, so did you go to your school shows? Were you in community theater? How did you?
Yeah. I just did the shows at my school because, like, at least in my town, there wasn't any community theater. And honestly, there wasn't really a dance school there either. So I didn't start dancing until I was like 15. Oh. Yeah, when like a little ballet school kind of just opened up in my town.
Gotcha.
But,
do you have a small town? You didn't live in the capital city, San Juan or anything? You lived in the big one?
No, I'm like around like 30 minutes on the highway from San Juan, like a more suburban area, yeah. And so that opened up, and I just started taking class. And my mom, actually, she was like, if you're going to do this, like, you're going to do it right. And I was like, you're correct. So
that's what parents are for. We're spending how much money you're going to do this. You know?
Exactly. But yeah, and then luckily I got into school for it. So...
But you were like school for it. So you jumped all the way to college, didn't you? Just there.
Yeah. Like other than that, it was just kind of like high school theater.
Well, high school stuff though. But somebody had to tell you when you were little though, like besides your mom saying you're going to do this, you're going to do it great, right? So you started doing stuff, and after a while, when did you figure out like this is, I'm actually kind of good at this? Did somebody tell you were good at this, or did you just have in your brain, I'm really good at this?
When I was little, I was a little delusional. And I thought, like, my brother would ask me if I went on America's Got Talent, would I win? And I was like, absolutely. And that was me when I was like 7, obviously. But yeah, like, I kind of just like really worked hard. It's something I really cared about. It's like been a constant in my life of something that I was really, really passionate about. So I just worked hard on that, given with what I was given at the time. And I think I got my first lead like when I was like in 8th grade, and it was Fame Junior.
Nice. Fame Junior, exactly.
That was a moment where I was like, oh, okay, like I could kind of, it's something that gave me confidence. I was a very shy person outside of doing theater, and I just kind of became a different person when I would do it. Not to sound like little frou-frou, but when I was on stage.
No, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with confidence. Nothing wrong with admitting that you worked really hard at something either. I find that you theater people always have a complex with that kind of stuff, though. You never want to take credit for all the skill and hard work that you do have, especially the hard work part. It's like, the athletes have no problem talking about how great they are.
So true, right?
They're like, look at me, I'm amazing. It's like, okay, relax. Okay, but theater people work 24/7 all the time with their muscles as well. And you guys are always like, oh, it just, it came to me. No, it didn't. Nobody gets on a national tour by not working hard. So you got to.
So true.
I think you need to take some credit for all that kind of stuff and be proud of it.
And you know what, Kyle? I totally will. From now on, I will.
There you go. You can't just be your mom always bragging about you. Sometimes you got to brag about yourself. And your brother do any of this kind of stuff, or is he just a cheerleader? No.
I have 2 twin brothers. Okay. They're older than me. They were basketball stars, so they were very into. But low key, when we did watch Cats a lot as kids, like we would all recreate the dance numbers together. So they weren't safe. They weren't safe from the theater bug.
Yeah, and were they one of your biggest cheerleaders in the crowd? At least they didn't shy away, act like they didn't like. Oh, I'm gonna pretend like I'm too cool to watch musical theater.
Maybe at first, but now they're extremely supportive.
I'm sure now they're ridiculously excited about their little baby sister up on the stage doing stuff. So did I read correctly when I was looking at this that this is your first national tour?
It is, yes.
Congratulations to that.
Thank you.
That's a huge deal, obviously. So you went to college for this as well?
I did. I went to Syracuse University.
Yeah. And so did you apply to like 30 schools and?
Honestly, no. I kind of did it wrong. I only applied to like the top 5 schools in the state. Because I was like, I'm going to get into one of them, hopefully. And that's exactly what happened. I got into 2.
You only applied to schools in the state of New York?
No. Like in the United States.
Oh,
no,
okay.
I wasn't that. I mean, we all wanted to go to Michigan, but.
So you applied to all the top schools and got into Syracuse and were like, okay, let's do this. Oh,
exactly.
No pressure there. What would have happened if you wouldn't have gotten into those 5 schools?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I probably would have. Honestly, I like to think that I'd find myself, I'd find my way back to doing this just because it is what I like to do. But honestly, I have no idea. Maybe I would have studied psychology. That would have been weird.
Psychology. A lot of people go study psychology. You're too cool for that. You can't just fall into psychology. You have too many skills and too many things that are going on to be a psychology major. So you applied and you got into these schools, and you said you got into 2 schools out of. So you were like, oh no, I only got into 2. So luckily, that's not bad though.
2 out of 5. I did have a choice.
That's not bad. 2 out of 5. It's for the people out there who are younger in high school who are applying for colleges. Apply to a bunch of them, because 2 out of 5 is actually a good number. That's about that's probably the percentage you got. 40% is good. That's good. If you applied to all these schools and you got into 40% of them, that's a big number. You shoot lower. Yeah. You might get into 10%. So don't do what you did. Don't do what Alessandra did.
No, do not do what I did. Learn from me.
Learn. Yeah, and then so you went to Syracuse, and then you got out of Syracuse and you immediately got work, right? You were so talented, you just got all kinds of jobs handed to you?
Oh, no. I mean, in a way, kind of, I was lucky in the way that, theater in Puerto Rico was just was starting to pick up a bit.
Okay.
So after a few months out of college, I got to go home and do a West Side Story production there, which kind of led to something else. And then it kind of gave me a little bit of momentum, but those first few months were definitely, I was working my restaurant job in New York City.
Just a few months though?
Yeah. But it was something I was lucky enough to have,
You are very lucky to only have to do a few months. We've talked to people here who've been doing it for 7 years, and they finally got their break.
Totally. And it wasn't necessarily a break, but it was something. It brought me back to having rehearsals and kind of just made me feel a little more normal in a way. You know, it was just something to kind of one thing led to another with each of those things. But, I had to work hard for it. When I was at home, I spent 5 months in Puerto Rico living with my parents, just doing little theater jobs here and there. And I would just be constantly auditioning, constantly sending in tapes for stuff in New York, maybe flying back for a callback or something if it was important enough. And so it wasn't kind of. You were just
surviving, basically, doing little jobs here and there and building that resume one crumb at a time, basically.
Yes, exactly.
And then when you say all the time, constantly sending videos back or auditions, what do you mean? Is that once a week? Is it 7 times a week? Is it once a month?
It was every day. It was every
day. Even Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah. You would, the routine would be waking up in the morning, having my coffee, having breakfast, looking on Playbill, looking on Actors Access, kind of giving yourself a schedule to make yourself feel like you're, going somewhere.
That's great.
And it leads to other things.
Yeah. So you just had your self-tape set up in one room and just never took it down.
Exactly.
Good morning, brush my teeth, wash my hair, put my makeup on, do my vocal routine, walk into the room, do my stuff. Okay, done for the day. Repeat, rinse and repeat every day until a job. So a job didn't just land on your lap while you were that, waiting at home then.
No, sir.
And then, so there was something else you did before this. I saw you were on a cruise ship.
I was, yeah.
I did a little bit of peeking on you, a little bit of peeking on Instagram just to see.
You did?
Yeah, well, you have a unique name, so I'm like, I can find her on Instagram and friend her, follow her, and then I started to look and see, what you were doing. I saw
incredible,
Beetlejuice. I'm like, Beetlejuice. That's not something. That's, that's she's not in Beetlejuice. So what was that on?
That was on the Norwegian Viva. So I was on Norwegian Cruise Lines, and it was the cruise production of Beetlejuice, which was incredible. That was probably the first moment where I was like, oh, okay, I'm in this industry. Here I am doing this show.
I might make a living doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
People like me. They really do.
Exactly.
That's great. Where was that cruise ship out of, and where did it go?
It did. We did a few months in the Caribbean, so I would actually go home every Sunday.
No way.
And yes.
So did it take port in Puerto Rico or?
Yep, the home port was San Juan. So yeah.
No, that doesn't happen. I can't believe that.
No, it was incredible, and that's kind of the reason why I was so open to doing cruise ships. A lot of people aren't. I'd say if anyone's listening, I say 100%. Add it to your options. It's incredible money. You get to travel. And if you live in Puerto Rico, then you get to go home every week.
Well, I wouldn't people want to in the career that you have, though, just because it's time away from your family or something? Is that what it is?
I think so. I think a lot of people also, like my friends included, before I did it, would kind of think it's not.
Oh, it's not bougie
enough. It
enough?
wouldn't be necessarily reaching your goal in a way. Like obviously the goal for a lot of people is Broadway, and because cruise ships are a little removed. But I'll tell you this, I've never felt so artistically fulfilled than what I did on that ship. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love to hear that. Yeah. All that kind of stuff. And so then you send in this videotape, I assume? Were you working on the boat and trying to record tapes at the same time? How does that work?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, with more important stuff, right? Because you can't just it's not like you're on tour and you're able to take off for a sec and go back to New York for a call back and la la la.
True, you are on a boat out in the ocean.
It's a little more difficult when you're when you're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, or you're in Turkey one day and you're like, okay. Oh. But it was a little bit of every so often I'd have something to tape and send it in, but because it was so long, I wasn't necessarily that worried about trying to find something immediately after. You kind of want to break from that.
Right. Yeah. And you had money that was flowing in the whole time while you were on the boat, so you didn't. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Your food's paid. Yeah. See, your food's paid for. Your housing's paid for. I would do a cruise ship tomorrow if they love me.
It's incredible.
Yeah. So, and then you get to visit new places. You get a couple days off from time to time, right? You don't always have to be, sequestered onto the ship, I assume.
No, yeah, it depends on what you're doing. But my ship I was lucky enough to, literally my only job was to perform. So when I wasn't performing, I was allowed to explore.
Yeah, that's amazing. So that's only a couple hours a day then, right? That kind of deal?
Yeah.
Oh, I like that job already. I really will take that. Hey, cruise ships, if you need some old fat guy, I'm your man. So, anywho, so then you did that and you got on this national tour. You sent out a video, obviously, from the boat or when you landed on port, I assume, and then you get this call from them.
Yes.
And then did you just break down crying immediately when you hung up the phone? Or did you
I was in shock. I was in complete shock. It was right after I got off the ship, and I wasn't expecting to have something lined up so quickly. And I just kind of went in. It was the same casting director that cast the ship, so I knew who he was, and that's always a really good feeling.
Great. That is great.
And it just went really well. Didn't think much of it, and literally the next day I got a call from my agent, and I was just like, oh, that's incredible. I have employment. That's so cool.
You have an agent. You left that part out. You got an agent at some point.
Yes. I'm lucky enough. Yeah.
Did you get it right out of college, or did you get one while you were in college?
No. Actually, I did in the production of In the Heights, somewhere at Pennsylvania Shakespeare Festival, literally middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. Great place though. And I just made a friend who was going to recommend me to his agent. That didn't really work out. They weren't really looking for someone like me. And then his friend ended up becoming a new agent. She used to be an actor, and he recommended me. Wow. And that's kind of how it all, that's just goes to show that making connections on these like odd jobs that you do is completely worth it. And
absolutely,
and that's just kind of how things come to your way.
And you don't even know who's going to be advocating for you really strongly either. Obviously, this person you got was new, right? And, and you're like you had to have faith in this person to be able to do it, and it sounds like they're doing a great job.
No, and she's incredible. She's my rock, literally.
Yeah, she sounds incredibly good. She's got you a couple jobs, boom, boom.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. So did you call your mom and then everybody cried as a family when you got the job then?
They were just like, thank God you have something lined up. That's incredible.
What they cried about. They cried about thank God instead of like, we're so proud of you.
But also they were like, yes, of course they're proud of me. They were so excited that it was Pretty Woman because they love the movie too. They were stoked.
We should probably talk about Pretty Woman now, but I love
Maybe let's talk about it.
I love that your backstory. I would love to see your entire, like when you were a little tiny growing up. I'd love to see those videos of you dancing in the ballet show that you were like, this sucks. Why am I doing
like
this?
So pissed.
With just a grumpy face the whole time. I would love to see that. It'd be probably absolutely absolutely adorable. But we are here to promote Pretty Woman. Okay, Pretty Woman is coming to the Stranahan Theater in Toledo this week. Okay, we are only days away. I'm gonna drop this thing. Are you in Toledo already?
No, we're not. We're in Baton Rouge. We'll arrive to Toledo tomorrow.
Oh my gosh, Baton Rouge. Are you flying?
We are. It's been a bit of a crazy schedule, because we're trying to hit so many venues. And literally yesterday we were in Mexico. Today we're in Baton Rouge, and tomorrow we're gonna be in Toledo.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So tomorrow you guys are gonna be here in Toledo. So actually, that means today, when this podcast drops, the cast and crew are here. Yeah, the cast and crew are here today, which means you need to all get your butts over to the Stranahan if you haven't already bought your tickets, which I'm sure you have. But if you haven't,
yes, please.
Yes. But if you haven't, get over there. They're only going to be here for a few days. But I will tell you this: we have a great theater community. Don't be surprised if you have a rowdy crowd that's very supportive of everybody that's in this show.
We love that. We're so excited for that. We got a bit of that in Mexico too, and it was just incredible.
All right. Well, I want to thank you very much for coming on and spending some time with me, especially last minute like this. All right.
Of course.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.